Buying a car can be a stressful process. Will it be reliable? Will I get a good deal? And do I trust this dodgy looking bloke who's selling me his Golf GTI? Which is why I want to show you guys how to properly inspect a used car when buying. So starting with the basics, what you want to do are quick visual checks. Have a look at the body panels, have a quick look at the wheels. Are the tires in good condition? Yes, that's awesome because you're going to save yourself a bunch of money because you don't need to replace those. Are there any dents? Are there any scratches? Move to the front of the motor vehicle. If you're looking for any panels that seem out of place, misaligned, this all looks pretty good. On this side of the car, you can see that the alloy wheel is looking a little bit sorry for itself. The lacquer is starting to peel and it's causing loads of horrible marks on the wheel. So that's a nice bargaining tool because you probably want to get that sorted because it looks pretty ugly. You want to have a look at the lenses. Are they filled up with water? Are they misted or anything like that? These all look nice and clear. And especially on Golf GTIs, here where the badge is, water drips down, collects and causes rust patches here. This looks like it may have been repaired a little while ago, but rust is starting to appear again, so that needs to be addressed. While we're on the subject of the exterior of the car, have a look at the brake discs and the brake pads. If there's a massive lip on them, then you know you need to replace the brake discs. Also the brake pads, how much meat is there on those? While you're also down here, make sure that you stick your head underneath the car. Have a look at the CV boots, have a look at the wishbone bushes because they could be expensive and also annoying to fix. And finally, look out for rust under the arches and sills because these can be expensive to repair and in many cases can be a car killer. So once you've done those checks, the next thing to do is to have a look at any fault codes which might throw up some check engine lights. And for that, you get yourself a FIXD sensor, which is the easiest to use OBD2 device. And interestingly, the device is compatible with any car post 1996. So any car with an OBD2, then you just need to open up the app, tap to scan. There is no engine light on this car, but that's not to say that there are no faults. FIXD can actually recognise intermittent issues that might not throw a permanent warning light. It describes problems in plain English without any unnecessary and confusing jargon. So once you've detected any problems that there might be with a car, you can also have a look at the service timeline. So at 130, you would hope to see a stamp in the service book that the engine oil has been changed as well. So if you want to take a look at your engine in real time and see what's going on, you can click on live data. So here you can see I've got intake temperature, throttle position, and I've also got mass airflow rates. The app also comes with other useful features like a 0 to 60 timer and dedicated tools to track the state of various wear items like your tires, wipers, and battery. And the things I'm looking for here are oil levels. Also take the oil cap off, make sure that there's no gunk on there, which could mean that the head gasket is gone. Have a look at stuff like brake fluid and also coolant. Once you're happy they're all good, take off the cap and make sure there is no white residue. That means that water and oil have mixed, which means that a head gasket could be gone. As you can see, this engine looks very happy indeed. Once you're satisfied that the engine oil is in good nick, then have a look at the coolant. And remember, do not open the coolant cap if the engine has been running for a while because it's pressurized, it could explode in your face. Have a look inside. Has the owner kept it topped up? Yes, definitely, fairly happy. Stick your finger in there, have a look at the coolant. You can still see it's dripping down my finger and it's still blue, which means that it's probably been swapped out fairly recently. Brake fluid, have a look at the brake fluid reservoir. Is there brake fluid in there? Yes, that all looks good. While you're down here as well, have a look at the belts. Make sure that they're not too perished because they drive stuff like the alternator, air conditioning, all the rest of it. Make sure that there's not too much slack in the belt, so give it a quick turn, a quick twist. You don't want to twist it more than a quarter really. Also ask the owner when the cam belt has been done. If they don't know, and if you do buy the car, then you know the first thing you probably need to do is to get that changed. Also, while you've got the bonnet up, have a look at the chassis legs here. Make sure that they're not bent or deformed in any way. If they are, then you know the car's probably had a front end impact and you probably don't want that at all. Have a look down the side of the engine, down the back, down the front. Make sure that there are no oil leaks, that the rocker cover gasket isn't buggered up. And the last thing you need to do is to get underneath the car, stick your head under the engine, and again, check for any untoward leaks. Inside the car, you want to check all the basics, like do the windows go up and down? Yep, they're happy. A little tip as well, if you're buying a hot hatch like this one, you want to check that the gear knob is in fairly good condition, that the steering wheel isn't too worn, because if these look really worn, then you know that the car's probably been driven hard as well. Check stuff like the handbrake as well. Does it feel good? Yes, that feels nice and tight. Seats as well, are they in good condition? All the bolsters seem fairly happy. So again, it's probably been fairly well looked after. And while you're inside, don't forget to check the service history and that all the lights work. The next thing I like to do, except for holding boots up because one of the struts is buggered, pick up the carpet, and if you can see an original spare wheel, which I can here, that's always a good sign. Also check that all the kit is there, so you've got the jack, you've got the screwdrivers. Then you want to have a look at the boot floor itself. Are there any ripples which could indicate that it's had a rear end shunt? In this case, everything looks pretty clean, and also there's no rust or anything in the boot floor, which means that there's been no water ingress. So in that case, I'm a pretty happy man. Right, the next thing you want to do, obviously, is to go for a test drive. So make sure that the engine is switched off, make sure that it's been cold for a little while, and then start the engine up. That way you'll be able to hear any kind of untoward knocks or squeaks coming from the engine. Sometimes belts like to squeak when they're cold and they stop squeaking when they're warm. It could be bearings, it could be the belt itself. If the owner is with you on the test drive, then make sure that he or she is nice and quiet, because sometimes they like to talk. Sometimes they like to put the radio on to sometimes mask the fact that there are knocks coming. So politely ask them to shut up. So you should be able to feel already and hear any knocks. We're in a bit of a potholed car park. I don't hear anything bad, which is very good news. So I'm going to warm up the engine now. Listen out for any rattles. Have a little feel of the steering as well. And go through all the gears. I'm currently in 4th, 5th, 6th gear. Still pulls nicely. You can feel the turbo starting to spool up, which is good. And then test the brakes at the same time. So let's do that. Accelerate hard. Feels good. And then hardish on the brakes. Make sure the car doesn't pull to either side, because that could indicate anything from tracking and alignment issues to worn suspension and serious braking system faults like sticking calipers or collapsed brake lines. You get a good feeling of a car pretty much in the first 2 minutes, really. Once the car is also warmed up, it's also a good opportunity to make sure that it keeps its temperature. You want it to be around 90 degrees. If it goes above that, then you want to be a little bit concerned. If it stays below that, not too bad. It's better that a car runs cold than it runs warm. Also check the heating as well. Does it heat up nicely? Because that could indicate that there could be a thermostat that's out. This one is heating up fairly well. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with this car, and I would buy it. So if the price is right, then I reckon the car is too. I hope you guys found this video useful. To get your very own fixed OBD2 sensor, click this link. To watch more videos on the channel, it's over here. And don't forget to subscribe to the Car Throttle channel over there. I'll see you next time.